get offended when somebody don't like mine.
From producing timeless classics like Cry Me a River and One in a Million that defined an entire generation of music, to facing controversy over AI-generated artists and allegations of stealing beats from independent producers, how did one of hip-hop's most legendary producers go from industry royalty to public enemy number one? The rise of a Virginia legend. Before Timothy Zachary Mosley became the Grammy-winning producer we know as Timbaland, he was just a kid from Norfolk, Virginia, born on March 10, 1972, trying to find his place in a world that didn't quite understand him. Growing up in a working-class family where his mother ran a homeless shelter and his father worked for Amtrak, young Tim wasn't exactly destined for stardom. In fact, he struggled to fit in at all.
A guy that was just trying to really fit in, because I wasn't a sports person. I wasn't like a school person. I was just always a sound person. I thought I was like a weird person, but was always cool with the drug dealers and cool with the nerds. So I was like a hybrid. But I just really embraced music, and music allowed me to fit in because I was a great DJ. So music allowed me to fit in with the sports people and just regular popular people because I was a popular guy. My music made me cool.
But Tim's journey to becoming one of the most influential producers in music history nearly ended before it even began. At just 14 years old in 1986, while working as a dishwasher at Red Lobster, Tim was accidentally shot in the neck by a co-worker, leaving him partially paralyzed for 9 months. Most people would have given up. Most people would have accepted defeat. But Tim, he wasn't most people. During his recovery, confined to learning to DJ with just his left hand, Tim discovered something profound. He learned to work with limitations, to create magic from nothing, to turn obstacles into opportunities. This period would shape his entire production philosophy, making the most with the least, finding beauty in constraint, and never, ever giving up on the music that moved his soul. What makes Tim's story even more remarkable is the community he came from. Virginia Beach in the early 1990s wasn't exactly known as a music mecca. It wasn't New York with its hip-hop culture, wasn't Atlanta with its southern bounce, wasn't LA with its West Coast sound. It was just Virginia, a Commonwealth state that most people drove through without a second thought.
Think isolation. It allowed you to dream big. And when I look back at it, I think if you had everything at your fingertips, the hunger might wouldn't have been there. By not having nothing, and we was always chasing DC and New York, not knowing it was 6 hours away because we kids, it just seemed so far and so far-fetched to get to. And to get recognized, it made us work harder.
But something special was brewing in Virginia Beach. Tim attended Salem High School in Virginia Beach with his cousin Pharrell Williams and friends Terrence and Gene Thornton, who would later become Pusha T and No Malice of Clips. They were all part of a production collective called Surrounded by Idiots, SBI, and they all shared one thing, an insatiable hunger to be heard. And then there was Missy Elliott. Missy wasn't from Virginia Beach, she was from Portsmouth. But when a mutual friend introduced her to Tim at his house, something clicked. She started singing over his hip-hop beats, and Tim heard something he'd never heard before. Missy became Tim's biggest champion, constantly telling him how talented he was. She was the one who gave him confidence when he doubted himself. She was the one who pushed him to be better, to work harder, to never settle for good enough when legendary was within reach. The real magic started when Tim and Missy connected with Devontae Swing of Jodeci in the early 1990s. Devontae had signed Missy's group Sista to his Swing Mob label and brought both Missy and Tim into the fold, relocating them to Rochester, New York. It was Devontae who nicknamed Timothy Mosley Timbaland after the Timberland boot brand, a name that would become synonymous with innovation and excellence. As part of Swing Mob's Debassment crew, which included Genuine, Playa, featuring Static Major, Suga, including Tweet, and others, Tim started developing a sound that would change music forever. He was fusing hip-hop's rhythmic intensity with R&B's smoothness, using clear drum patterns and electronic elements to blur genres in ways no one had attempted before. The breakthrough came in 1996. Tim produced the majority of tracks on Genuine's debut album, Genuine The Bachelor, including the lead single Pony. That song, with its innovative stuttering bass line, hoarse-whinny sound effects, and slow, seductive groove, became a cultural phenomenon. Pony peaked at number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 1 on the Hot R&B Hip-Hop Songs chart, and was certified platinum. But Pony was just the beginning. That same year, Tim co-produced Aaliyah's sophomore album, One in a Million, handling 10 of the 17 tracks, including the title track If Your Girl Only Knew, Hot Like Fire, and 4-Page Letter. The album's sound featured Tim's signature stuttering rhythms, short, syncopated drum patterns, and sparse arrangements that highlighted Aaliyah's ethereal ethereal vocals.
It was a hit, and I ain't think it was gonna be a hit with 1 Minute Man. You gonna put this out? Tim, you crazy. This jam, all my girls, the girls going crazy. I'm like, yeah, I bet that girl was going crazy.
Released in August 1996, 1 in a Million debuted at number 18 on the Billboard 200, eventually peaking at number 10 and selling over 3 million copies in the US, triple platinum. The title track topped the Hot R&B hip-hop songs chart for 6 weeks. Tim and Missy, who wrote the lyrics, formed a creative trio with Aaliyah, often recording in quick, inspired sessions. The following year, 1997, Tim fully produced Missy Elliott's debut, Supa Dupa Fly, crafting all 17 tracks, including hits like The Rain, Supa Dupa Fly, Sock It To Me, and Beat Me 911. Released in July 1997, the album debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200, sold over 1.2 million copies, platinum, and received critical acclaim. Rolling Stone called it a boundary-rattling opus. As the 2000s dawned, Tim's career reached stratospheric heights. He produced Justin Timberlake's Cry Me a River, 2002, and the entire Future Sex Love Sounds, 2006 album, featuring mega hits like Sexy Back. The chemistry between Tim and Justin was undeniable, creating some of the most iconic pop songs of the decade.
Justin always, he liked what me and Missy did, and I met him when he was 15 at the studio, and he was like, hey man, I want to work with you, blah, blah, blah.
Was he still in the group, or was
he
was
still in the group.
Okay.
And this was when, before Alone came out. Alone was about that Michael Jackson, no, Gone was coming out, and this is like right around that time. So he was still in the group, but he was about to do a solo album.
Tim released his own album, Shock Value, in 2007, with chart toppers Give It To Me, featuring Nelly Furtado and Timberlake, and The Way I Are, featuring Carrie Hilson. He worked on Michael Jackson's posthumous tracks, Beyoncé's self-titled album 2013, and Jay-Z's Magna Carta Holy Grail 2013. His work with Jay-Z was particularly legendary. Tim produced Jigga What, Jigga Who, Big Pimpin', Dirt Off Your Shoulder, and countless other classics. The Dirt Off Your Shoulder session, famously captured on film for the documentary Fade to Black, showed Tim's creative process in real time, playing beats until Jay found the perfect one, then watching as Jay effortlessly crafted one of hip-hop's most iconic tracks. By the end of the 2000s, Tim had earned 4 Grammy Awards from 22 nominations, with his net worth estimated at around $85 million. His influence had extended to pop trends globally, and his stuttering rhythms and eclectic sampling had become blueprints for 2000s music. He had worked with virtually every major artist of the era, from Madonna to Mariah Carey, from Snoop Dogg to Ludacris. But as the 2010s approached, something started to change. The world was evolving, music was shifting, and Tim was about to face challenges that would test everything he had built. Little did anyone know, the producer who had dominated for over a decade was about to enter the most difficult period of his career, one that would bring him to his knees and force him to question everything about himself and his art. The fall from grace. Behind the scenes of Tim's incredible success, darkness was brewing. In the early 2010s, Tim faced a confluence of personal crises that would nearly destroy him. It started innocently enough. A root canal procedure in 2011 led to a prescription for OxyContin and Percocet. But what began as pain management quickly spiraled into a full-blown addiction that would consume Tim's life for years.
Addiction gives you power. It gives you, make you feel like, it brings out the inner demon in you, and it stands forefront. So addiction makes you fit in. Like the thing that you not, when you don't fit in, addiction makes you fit in, and when you in it, you like, it's just like, it gives you like this superpower that really like, that's why people don't want to let go.
The pills made Tim feel invincible at first. They helped him deal with the pressures of fame, the endless demands on his time and talent, and the fears he had about his marriage to Monique Idlet Mosley. But they also turned him into someone he didn't recognize. At his worst, Tim was taking 180 milligrams of OxyContin per day, spending $6,000 a month on prescriptions from doctors who were all too willing to keep writing them. The addiction took its toll on every aspect of Tim's life. His weight ballooned to 350 pounds at 5'7" tall, and he was diagnosed with prediabetes. His creativity, once his greatest strength, became muddled and unfocused. The music he made during this period, while still technically proficient, lacked the spark that had made him legendary.
I think the recovery, being on drugs and doing music was like wonderful. Because I think my music was like amazing. You know what I'm saying? And that's the whole thing.
What were the drug songs?
Maybe 2020, the 2020 experience.
Great album.
And then I want to say Beyonce, I think Drunk in Love doing that. Jay-Z, Magna Carta.
What?
Yeah.
Being high and doing music was great because those albums in that time was amazing, but it's like decades long of a run, right? You know, like it's late 90s, early 2000s of a run. So it's not like you needed that. Are you saying the feeling of producing music
It was fun.
But Tim knew the truth. Those albums, while successful, didn't stand up to his earlier work. The classics like 1 in a Million, Pony, and Cry Me a River that had been created when he was drug-free. God was still giving him talent, still blessing his work, but Tim knew he wasn't operating at full capacity. Tim's marriage to Monique Idlet Mosley, which had begun in June 2008, began to deteriorate amid his addiction. Monique filed for divorce in October 2013, seeking substantial support for their daughter Rain and her son from a prior relationship. The proceedings turned ugly, with disputes over assets, child support, and alimony dragging on for years before finally being resolved in March 2017. As if addiction and divorce weren't enough, Tim also faced significant financial pressures during this period. In 2013, the IRS filed a $4 million tax lien against him for unpaid taxes. Additional liens followed, with amounts totaling approximately $3.8 million across several years. These were eventually resolved in 2017 through payments or settlements, but the threat of asset seizures added tremendous stress to an already chaotic situation. The intervention that saved Tim's life came not from doctors or rehab facilities, but from something far more profound. One night, lying in bed, Tim had an out-of-body experience where he saw himself as if from the outside, a vision of his own potential death.
God tapped me on my shoulder, showing me at one point I was in the bed, but out of my body and seeing myself, I guess if you would say death, right? Sitting there, it's like, this is gonna be you. And God just spoke to me like, you gotta get off this. I got bigger works for you to do. I need you off this. And then me talking like I'm not a person that scream out loud and like I talk to God in my mind, then I talk like I'm talking now.
God told Tim to get clean, and with the support of his current wife, Michelle Dennis, serving as a guardian angel, Tim weaned himself off the drugs without going to a clinic or rehab facility. It was brutal, withdrawals, mood swings, physical and mental anguish, but Tim fought through it. By 2020, he had lost over 130 pounds through boxing, cardio, weightlifting, and healthy eating, aiming to look like an action figure. But while Tim was getting his personal life together, the music industry was moving on without him. New producers were emerging, with new sounds and new approaches. Swiss Beats had his run, Pharrell continued to evolve, and Tim found himself, for perhaps the first time in his career, wondering if he still had a place in the game. The shift in the music industry hit Tim hard. The digital age had transformed how music was made, distributed, and consumed. Where Tim had once spent hours crafting sounds on an ASR-10 or MPC, now producers were making hits on laptops with FL Studio. The stuttering rhythms that had defined Tim's sound were being replaced by trap hi-hats and 808s.
That's why I started Beat Club, his stuff like, I would look for stuff like that and find, really use the internet. But I think I would get in a community and let the community be like, yo, that little kid cold, just be quiet like I always been doing my shit. It was Missy who told me that I was dope. I feel like it would be the same way around. I feel like somebody would vouch for me. And I think, because all I'm doing is showcasing my love, just to showing you like, yo, I'm here. I really love this shit.
In 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Tim co-founded Versus with Swizz Beats, a live stream battle series that exploded in popularity. The initiative was named to Time's 100 Most Influential People list in 2021. Tim also relaunched Beat Club, originally founded in 2001, as a digital marketplace and mentorship platform connecting producers, songwriters, and labels. But despite these successes, Tim was grappling with a fundamental shift in how he was perceived. The younger generation didn't necessarily know or care about Cry Me a River or 1 in a Million. They wanted the newest sound, the newest producer, the newest everything. And while Tim's legacy was secure, his relevance felt increasingly uncertain. Tim released singles in 2023 like Keep Going Up with Nelly Furtado and Justin Timberlake, attempting to recapture the magic of his golden era. But the tracks, while solid, didn't make the cultural impact his earlier work had. The world had moved on, and Tim was struggling to find his place in it. Then came 2025, and with it, the controversy that would define Tim's later career and turn him from beloved legend to embattled figure. In June 2025, Tim co-founded Stage Zero with film producer Rocky Mudaliar and AI music strategist Zaid Portillo. The company partnered with Suno AI, a generative music platform, to create autonomous virtual artists under the banner of A-Pop, Artificial Pop. Tim described Stage Zero as a way to blend intellectual property, AI code, and robotics robotics to produce music, visuals, and personas that evolve independently. The company's first creation was Tata Taktumi, often stylized as Tata, described as a living, learning, autonomous music artist. Tata's design drew from futuristic cyberpunk aesthetics, pink hair, metallic skin, heavy jewelry, and a hyper-real avatar style evoking Blade Runner aesthetics. But what made Tata truly controversial wasn't just that she was AI generated, it was that she was a non-black AI, with what critics called a blaccent, an exaggerated rendition of African American Vernacular English, AAVE. The backlash was immediate and severe. Critics accused Tim of cultural appropriation, of using black musical influences without crediting or benefiting black artists. Tata's debut single, Glitch X Pulse, released October 10, 2025, featured electronic beats with lyrics about digital glitches, but the music video, which included Tim and the Jabberwockies dance crew, was called As Soulless as Expected by Vice and A Ghost in a Misguided Machine by NPR. But the AI controversy was just the beginning. Even more damaging were the accusations of theft that emerged alongside the Stage Zero launch. The theft allegations and what comes next. From 2023 to mid-2025, Tim had hosted frequent TikTok live streams, inviting independent artists to submit beats, songs, and vocals for real-time feedback. He positioned these as opportunities for discovery, often under his Beat Club platform. But there was a problem. No artists were signed or compensated from these sessions. And as Tim's pivot to AI became public, suspicions arose that these submissions had been harvested to train AI models without consent. The most high-profile incident involved producer K-Fresh. In June 2025, Tim duetted a TikTok video featuring K-Fresh's beat, including his producer tag, and rapper C-Red's freestyle. Tim uploaded it to Suno AI and generated a demo track under Baby Timbo without permission. The AI output retained K-Fresh's tag and similar elements. When the theft was exposed on social media, K-Fresh, represented by attorney Ryan Merkley, issued an open letter demanding a public apology within 24 hours, proof of data removal from Suno's model, and preventive measures. They argued it violated copyright law and Suno's terms. Tim apologized on June 20th, 2025. I'd like to formally apologize to K-Fresh. I should have done my due diligence. My goal has always been to empower creatives, not to take from them. But the apology rang hollow for many. K-Fresh responded, "Talk to me. You have a responsibility to us younger artists." The damage was done. A legend who had built his career on innovation and creativity was now being accused of stealing from the very artists he claimed to want to help. Singer Zara Scully came forward with similar allegations, claiming Tim had used her vocals from a 2024 session to train Baby Timbo without permission. She described going from excitement about collaborating to discovering her voice in AI outputs. When interviewed by rapper Curtis King on YouTube, Scully detailed how her unreleased material was repurposed without her consent. Tim denied owning the training data, arguing he didn't control what Suno did with submissions, but the explanations felt like excuses to critics who saw a pattern of exploitation. Social media erupted with accusations that Tim had spent hours on TikTok live listening to independent artists' music just to sign an AI artist. The reaction from Tim's peers was swift and brutal. Will.i.am called the AI project something that raises a lot of concerns, highlighting ethical issues in AI music. Jermaine Dupri described it as crazy and unbelievable, criticizing the shift to AI over human R&B talent. Young Guru confronted Tim on his Twitch stream, saying human expression can never be reduced to this. Even Chuck D, who tried to defend AI by comparing backlash to auto-tune, faced pushback for ignoring the theft concerns. On social media, the response was even more damning. Posts labeled Tim washed up, greedy, and disgusting. One user tweeted, "Using AI to create a non-black artist to embody black culture just so you can exploit without guilt is insane." Another wrote, "Timbaland is a weirdo." Calls for boycotts spread rapidly. For a producer who had spent 30 years building goodwill and respect, the reversal was staggering. Anthony Fantano, the influential music critic, called the project evil. The consensus seemed clear. Tim had crossed a line, and there was no going back. Tim, for his part, has doubled down on his AI advocacy. He views the backlash as temporary, comparing it to initial resistance to sampling. In interviews and social media posts, he's defended Tata as having pure soul despite being AI generated, arguing that 4 human writers contributed lyrics and that AI is just a tool that enhances creativity without replacing humans.
I'm gonna tap my heads ahead. This might be too much gems for y'all. Like I'm always, see, now that I'm like in the world, I'm 8 steps ahead. So I already been on this for a couple years. I'm like, AI's gonna take over all producers. I'm telling you.
No, don't say that, man. Don't say that.
How long we got?
So look, so this is what I said why it can't happen. Because now what the problem is, the AI has to partner with a producer like a Metro or a Mustard, and Mustard give it its algorithm of the sound. So now the percentage is broken through Mustard and the AI.
Tim has also defended himself against theft allegations by insisting he doesn't control Suno's training data. He's characterized incidents like the K-Fresh situation as mistakes rather than intentional exploitation, and he's continued promoting Stage Zero and Tata, seemingly convinced that history will vindicate his approach. But many observers see something else, a legend struggling to accept that the world has moved past him, trying desperately to stay relevant through shock value and controversy rather than through the innovative music that made him great in the first place. One social media user captured the sentiment. Timbaland spent hours on TikTok live listening to independent artist music just to sign an AI artist. You can't convince me he wasn't using those people's music to train his AI. What makes Tim's story so tragic is that it didn't have to be this way. As of October 25th, 2025, Tim remains active in Miami, hosting near-daily Timbo IDO live streams on X for music discovery and AI discussions. Verzuz has been revived after reclaiming ownership from Triller in 2024, partnering with X for free streaming events. Beat Club continues to connect producers with opportunities, but the AI controversy has overshadowed everything else. Tata's Glitch X Pulse has modest streams, but hasn't charted significantly, and boycotts continue. The lawsuits against Suno by major labels like Sony, UMG, and Warner for copyright infringement in training AI. Models have put Tim in an uncomfortable spotlight, associated with a platform accused of systematic theft. Looking at Tim's career trajectory, you see a pattern that's both inspiring and cautionary. From a kid who was accidentally shot and paralyzed, who overcame disability and limitation to become one of the most influential producers in music history, to a man who battled addiction and depression and came out the other side, to someone now facing accusations of betraying the very artists and culture that made him. It's a story of incredible highs and devastating lows.
Man, because I used to work so hard, it is like work smarter, not harder. So now I learned how to say, I did it. You ain't do it. So, cause you ain't do it, you should help me out and do it. That's how I do it. Like, yo, I'm gonna show you what to do.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give you some game.
Yeah.
Right.
How can I lose? It's like I'm smart.
Tim's net worth remains estimated at around $85 million as of 2025. He's released instrumental albums like Timbo Progression in 2025, exploring Afro beats. He's appeared on ABC News discussing his work. He hasn't retired or disappeared, but the question remains, at what cost? The truth is, nobody knows what happens next for Tim. He's teased more AI evolutions through Stage Zero, suggesting Tata is just the beginning. He continues to work with established artists and mentor younger producers through Beat Club. He's active, engaged, and seemingly committed to his vision of what music's future should look like. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.